From crime in North Charleston to the very latest on issues in Columbia to the Charleston County School Board, Angela Hanyak, who is running for House District 113, and Elder James Johnson of the National Action Network speak exclusively to me for the special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Well, this is very interesting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you have a House candidate for House District 113, and
Yep.
you have the National Action Network state president right here.
Mm-hmm.
As we sit here right now, I understand, Elder Johnson, you're upset about some comments that a local television station general manager said about Charleston County School Board member Kevin Hollinshed.
Yes, I'm very upset about what was said last night by the general manager from Channel 5, trying to assassinate Mr. Hollinshed's character. And it's appalling to me that he would attack Mr. Hollinshed. What about Donald Trump, who came out and said the wrong things about women? What he said about immigrants, Mexican, blacks. We haven't heard anything from Channel 5 about that. But a man who works on the school board who made a mistake, and we all do make mistakes in our life, that can be corrected. We don't see a history of padding on Mr. Hollinshed writing bad checks. There's only two. Mr. Hollinshed has 2 kids in college. He's a single parent. Sometimes you make mistakes, but we don't need a TV station to come out to assassinate his character, especially somebody who don't know anything about Mr. Hollinshed or his family background. Just came to Charleston. We, as National Action Network and the citizens of Charleston, will not stand back and allow him to do that.
As a matter of fact, as I was just telling you this off camera, but Robin Ford just sent this email out basically saying, hey, and this is the headline, Channel 5 TV is still racist. Are they racist?
I believe, I wouldn't say the TV itself. We had Rita Scott there who
Right.
kept a good rein on things when she was the general manager there. And she allowed a lot of blacks to come in and be anchored in this. But there's certain people within Channel 5 are racist, and I have experienced that racism myself. When the guy that in North Charleston, that got shot by North Charleston police, you remember his name?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Walter Scott.
Not Walter Scott, I'm talking about early in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
The retarded guy that got shot, and some things were said by Bill Sharp about that family, and I caught it on Rocky D show, one of those radio shows. So I wouldn't go and say it's the whole department, the whole TV station is racist. There's certain people in there are racist.
Angela, when you think of, really, let's go back to the totality of this, because obviously Kevin Hollinshed was arrested on alleged bad checks charges. And a lot of people in the community are saying, hey, this is the same guy who's the architect of pushing for a pay raise for the Charleston County School Board. When you think of that, what sticks out to you?
Well, I think that, people that put themselves up for public service are always held to a high level of scrutiny. But at the same time, nobody's perfect. And I think that one of the reasons are stuck with Donald Trump is because we have kind of told ourselves that public servants need to be perfect. I just think that if, the courts are going to decide what happened, whether he's guilty or innocent, that's not really for us to relate back to his work on the school board.
Elder?
One thing we have to realize is Mr. Hollinshed and everybody in this school board are ordinary people.
Mm-hmm.
They are people that go to work every day, and they want to try to make a difference. That's why they ran for those positions. So we're not looking at somebody like Donald Trump or a state representative or somebody like that. We're looking at everyday ordinary people who go to work and come back. And they made a mistake. They made a big mistake. But the general manager of Channel 5 saying that he should resign, let me send a message to him. Maybe he needs to resign. And people start watching that station. Because we're not going to sit back and allow him to attack these people here who's been working in the vineyard hard all their life and helping people before he even think about coming to Charleston. We're not going to allow him to do that. And we have the North Charleston NACP there tomorrow. We have the coalition there tomorrow. And several other people will be having a press conference tomorrow to tell Channel 5 to back off Hollinger, and that's what we mean.
Let me get back to 75 Calhoun Street because obviously it's still a debate. A lot of people that I've interviewed over the past couple of days have said, hey, the Charleston County School Board deserves a raise, but they need to go do the legal and really legislative way. What is your take on that? And what do you say to those people who say, hey, they need a raise, but they need to go do it the legal way?
Well, you got to understand one thing. These people give their time, not only on school board meetings, but times during the day for $25. They do need a raise. And if they're doing it the wrong way, they can do it the right way. Just find out which way is correct to do that. Going back to that school board and Channel 5, what did Channel 5 say when they had an $18 million shortfall? That's a bounce check. Why didn't he say anything about that? Where's the money? It's still being solid about that $18 million that they can't find. So Channel 5, talk about that.
Angela, obviously you're running for House District 113.
Yep.
What would you do as state representative if you were in that position right now?
Well, I think it's very clear that the Charleston County School Board is looking for some guidance from the legislative delegation on the issue of pay. They felt, from things that I've seen and read in the press, I think that they were unclear about the proper mechanism of going forward with the pay raise. And I think that their legislative delegation, which I would be part of once elected, really needs to guide them through the intricacies of the law that will allow them to vote on, have a first reading and a second reading, take public comments, and then vote on appropriately the raise, whether that is the way that it has to come about or if it needs to be legislated in Columbia. But I think that they're just looking for someone to work with them.
Go forward.
And, I think the public is behind the pay raise. It really is, simply because $25 a meeting is taking a lot out of people's life. So I believe the public is behind the pay raise. If you check the records of Columbia school boards, Richland County, Horry County, they making up to $14,000, a year salary. So why not Charleston County do that? My big thing in working with Mr. Hollinger looked at the numbers in 2015 for minority students at Charleston County School. And those numbers were 86% failing math and 82% failing reading. Mr. Hollinger is the only one that's speaking out on those issues. And he's new to the school board, very new to the school board. So we have somebody right now who has a voice and care about the kids. And that's important to me. And I will not allow people to assassinate his character without speaking out against it.
As a matter of fact, when I spoke with him over the phone just recently, he said this is basically a political hit.
Yes, it is. I believe it is. Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's why it's so important to have community leaders like Elder James Johnson, who is going to speak out on behalf of those voices in the community that are fighting for students. Because a lot of times the headline is the headline, and you've got to dig a little bit deeper to kind of figure out what's going on. And to have somebody on the school board who is looking at testing data, who's looking at the demographic data, who's being failed by the school system, I think that that's really what parents and folks in the community are looking for.
Exactly. Now, one thing I want to make clear, as the state president of National Action Network,
right.
I cannot endorse anybody.
Right.
And I want to make it clear, I'm not endorsing anybody.
Sure.
But the views of people that I agree with, especially Mrs.
Hanyak.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Hanyak views on prison reform. And she has a passion for young minority women that's in prison, And I agree with a lot of those views. And also her views on crime.
You talk about crime. Let me take you to North Charleston. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was really a spike in crime, and I know North Charleston, that is really trying to tackle that. Where are we with crime in North Charleston? Because I know, Angela, when we spoke, I guess a week ago, you basically said this quote: "We speak to the North Charleston Police Department with two different voices. We should be able to talk to the North Charleston Police Department with one voice. We shouldn't. People's civil rights shouldn't be violated." Anything in that particular quote that you told me What would you add to that?
Well, I think the number one thing that I would add to that is just, something that recently happened. A very young man was recently killed by gun violence. His name was Knowledge Sumter. And for me, that really kind of hit me in the stomach, because that young man, his mother named him Knowledge because she envisioned for him a very bright future. And instead he was found shot to death in somebody's front yard. That speaks to the heart of what we have to do in North Charleston, what we have to ameliorate, the things that we have to improve upon, because this is affecting our young people, it's affecting families, and I think that, yes, we have many different demographics in North Charleston and Lincolnville and Brownsville, parts of Somerville that are still in the district that we can't forget about.
Right.
And that's important. We do need to speak with one voice, but we also have to remind ourselves that this is a time issue. This is happening as we speak. It's happening in real time. And we have to be able to forge these community coalitions to really combat this problem.
It's a problem, and it's a serious problem. Whenever you get a 14-year-old that charged with 2 murders, a 14-year-old that has an illegal gun, that don't have any regards for life, we have a serious problem. How many 14-year-olds do you think that's out there that can do the same damage that they kill innocent people? We cannot allow that. But what went on here in Charleston, Dorchester, and Berkeley County, we think that it's a local problem. Our state representative don't get involved. Only person may get involved is the state representative Whitney Gilliard. But no other state representative gets involved with the local crime in our community, not one bit. Senator Kempson got, I think it was $100,000 from the state when Walter Scott died. Instead of he putting that money locally within the community to help the people in the community, to educate the people of crime, he gave it to North Charleston for body cams. North Charleston's a rich city. They don't need money for body cams. They can get their own money for body cams. But that's what we have to do. The state senators and the state representative need to know that this is their problem too. You hear none of them speak out about it. But now it's time, because it's getting serious here in Charleston. Guns are everywhere. Everywhere. So we have to deal with that problem, because it's everybody's problem.
I had someone ask me a question, what type of representative do you want to be? And my response kind of echoed that. I said, I want to be someone who is a leader not only in Columbia, but also back in the community that I represent. So often we see representatives who are either loud in Columbia and quiet back home, or quiet in Columbia but very loud in their home district. We need a balance in our leader. We need someone who is going to speak up with their voice, get the resources for the district in Columbia when they're being handed out, fight for them if they're not being handed out, but also come back and work with local leaders to make sure that the improvements that we are really striving for are actually being implemented at the local level.
And I want to say this. Mrs. Hanyak, obviously, is white. And we have to stop thinking that we need to send people in not a majority black district, but at least 60% black district. We have to send people black to those offices. You know, it's been proven for 20 years, nothing has gotten done in District 113. Nothing. Not one thing has gotten done. If we can find somebody that can work, regardless if they're white or black, across the aisle with a Republican to get things in that district and to help poor people, this is what I want. It's not because I'm going to vote for you because you're black. It's I'm going to vote for you if you come to me with a program that I think can work. I'm going to be there, supporting those views.
And you talked about views. Angela, I want to go back to the interview that I did with you just recently. And you said this quote, "We're getting so close in the state to real progress, but we keep running into these roadblocks in Columbia." So as we sit here right now, what are those roadblocks in your mind?
One of the biggest ones that I see, and it's very timely, it has to do with Representative Gilda Cobb Hunter's
Right.
equal pay bill. And I think I even talked about that with you in the previous interview. Monday was actually Black Women's Equal Pay Day. So July 31st, that is how deep into 2017 Black women have to work in order to make the same amount of money that white men made in all of 2016. Almost a year and a half just to catch up. And I mean, Representative Cobb Hunter has a wonderful bill, and I think that she has a lot of support from Democrats, but it's support, you know? Once that bill's on the floor, I'll vote yes. We need someone that's going to fight for that bill. We need someone that is going to go into a Republican's office and sit down with them and say, listen, I'd like to talk to you about this piece of legislation and why it's important for the women in my district. And I am willing and ready to do that.
Okay. Elder?
Well, you know, I've been hanging for the last 20 years, and from state representative, oh, the Republicans rule the House, we cannot do this, and I understand that too. But I've been hanging that, but I never even heard a fight for them. Even talking to the community about the issues that they may put forth, and it may not pass, but they haven't put anything forth. And I'm sick and tired of the solaceness in the state representative. I'm sick and tired of people, they're just there. Like I said again, the only person that really speaking about any issues out of Columbia is State Representative Gilliard. And I'm tired of the people just being silent.
You say Wendell Gilliard is one of the state representatives that are, in your mind, doing something for
Well, it's not in my mind, it's what I see.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to sit down with, let's say, Seth Whipper or David Mack or even State Senator Melvin Kempson, what would be your first question to them, one-on-one?
What are you doing? Tell me what are you doing. Tell me what bill you put forth. What are you doing? We hear nothing. That's what I would ask them. What are you doing for the people who send you there? Or what are you trying to do for the people? What is your views? The people need to know the views. They need to know what are their views that's going to reflect those people in the community. If it's illegal gun, then speak out about you fighting for illegal guns. You know, if it's drug in the community, whatever it is in the community, speak out about it.
I think that we all have, you know, we just need to amplify our voice. And I think that we need a representative in Columbia who is going to amplify the views of District 113. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. So we need someone that is going to work with all facets of the community. And that's something that I'm very committed to doing. And I commend the National Action Network and Elder James Johnson, because that kind of leadership at the grassroots level, I mean, that is where change really happens. And to be able to have the conversations that we have had about policy and about ideas and about plans that can bring tangible change to the district, I mean, those are the conversations that we need to be having.
Another conversation that a lot of people are talking about, and you probably saw it on social media, is Catherine Templeton's really thoughts about the Confederacy.
I was so surprised. I was very surprised, actually. I thought that Catherine Templeton was running a really wonderful campaign, and I think she went up to the upstate and put her foot in her mouth.
Yeah, because you got to remember, people down here in Charleston have to vote for her also, you know. And it'll be a slap in the face to Emmanuel 9.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of support from our white friends in what happened to Emmanuel 9. You know, from Columbia on back, a lot of support. And you got to remember, those people voted for that flag to come down also. The people, because they were out there in the demonstration, in the march.
Mm-hmm.
Equal amount of black and white was out there telling the governor to bring that flag down. Those people have to vote for her.
And if she needs to invoke the Confederate flag to win a Republican primary, I don't really know why she's in it, because that is such a symbol of hate. It is something that I think that progress that you and I spoke about last time, that we're on the cusp of really achieving, is because of things like that flag coming down.
She just opened up a wound.
Yeah.
She opened up a big wound that's going to be hard to close now. simply because you're gonna have people like National Action Network addressing the monuments across this state. You know, we're gonna address those issues, you know, and we're gonna challenge her on it, simply because, you know, I have no problem with the monuments, and I said it before, the monuments can stay there, but tell the true story about this so-called hero you're talking about, what he did to, doing how many slaves he owned, how many blacks he killed, how many families he's destroyed, or how many kids he sold. Tell the truth about him, and it's all written. If they're willing to do that, then we solve about the monuments.
Elder James Johnson and Angela Hanyak, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Thank you.
This is very interesting.
This is a big one. Don't put that up.